Hello, everyone. Darren back. Sorry for the huge absence. Just been really busy with work and other goings on. We've had some problems in the family. Somebody very ill. My van finally packed up. If you've been watching me for long enough, it's been having its problems. And it finally packed up, so I had to get a new van sorted out. And luckily, I'm back on the road, and all is good at the minute. So, hence the reason I've got a bit of time on my hands to get a video up. And so, really, all is good for me. I mean, I've had some stressful bits going on lately, but managed to. Get things back on track. And that's one of the things I wanted to talk about really is, during these times, looking back, when things were quite stressful and what have you, that's a time that, I relied heavily on gambling and stuff, to get me through that time. And it's quite odd, I still, with everything going on and the stress of, finding a new motor and family members not being so grand and stuff, it all starts taking its toll. And you end up looking for something, or it started playing on my mind, I need something to just get me away and take me away from all this doom and gloom. And it's weird, isn't it? After all this time, I'm going to be 4 years clean of gambling in June. So that's, a massive milestone, for me. But again, it's just weird how your brain works, isn't it? Through all of this stress and strain, I still thought I could do with a little pick-me-up somewhere. What might that be? But as it happens, I just soldiered on, and and things were a lot better for just being focused and controlled, and not looking for some sort of pick me up that was never going to help me, be it booze, drugs, gambling, whatever your vice may be. It's not going to help you. It would have only actually made matters a hell of a lot worse for me trying to deal with it, and we all know that, if you're, with your gambling and stuff, if you're gambling all the time, it just fogs your brain. And when you're trying to deal with other things that are in your life that are problematic, we're just sweeping it under the carpet. That's the problem. So yeah, I mean, all is good. I hope everyone else is ticking along well. I know I've been absolutely hounded about doing videos and stuff. I've lost some free subscribers. If you're one of them watching, come back. You know what I mean? It's I mean no harm. Yeah, it's just I've been really busy. I never set out with this to be a sort of any given period. It wants sort of a once a week type thing. As I've said, it will be just when I can, and when I've got something to say, really, because I waffle on. And if I've got nothing to say, really, that's only going to be worse than it normally is. You know what I mean? So, anyway, come and say hello, everybody, and let me know how you're doing. But for me, all is going well. I start a new job Monday. I'm self-employed, but I've got a new contract thing kicking about. So that's going to take hold on Monday coming. Maybe a little bit later than that. I've got to sort a load of paperwork out and stuff. But got a van, and hopefully this one will last a bit longer than the last. Everything's okay. It's plodding along. But looking back, I just want to recap to where I am today. I don't want anybody to think that it's all gravy. I mean, the stresses and strain of life I deal with now. Okay, looking back when I was gambling, I had the same problems as I have today. Mostly, it's financial. Look, obviously the van's gone. I've got to rent this place. Everything's the same as it once was. But the difference this time being, I deal with them problems. I don't sort of overlook them. If something comes along, I try and, deal with that in a timely manner. Don't let it fester. Because the problems we have in life are no different from me to you, or if you're not gambling, they're just run-of-the-mill things, aren't they? But looking back, obviously, I did, like I was saying at the beginning, I used gambling as a form of escapism from these problems. And did it help? No. Did it fuck? It just made matters worse. So you've got one secretive problem, and then you've got problems that you can share with people and sort out. I'm a bit of a closed book when it comes down to it. Always was, because obviously of my secret lifestyle and what have you. I do share a problem now. I'm not, I like to think I can fix most things, but it's good to talk to people. As I mentioned in a past vid, I got a new lady in my life, and she won't let it go. If I've got something on my mind, she'll clock it, and we have a little chat, and that's life, isn't it? You've got to have somebody kicking about. I know not everybody has, but there's certain avenues. If you're on your own and you haven't got anybody to talk to, you can pick up a phone and speak to Gam Care and the Samaritans and people like that, and get yourself to meetings. There's gonna be somebody that you can chat to, and somebody, most importantly, that's gonna listen and give you some good advice, hopefully. So again, it's just getting yourself out there. How much do you want to quit gambling? That's paramount to the avenues that you're going to select in moving forward. So one of my new subs, whether he's still with me, I don't know who the three is, I've lost, but one of them put a comment on saying a problem gambler, and thanks very much for the vids, which was much appreciated. So I hope you're getting something out of the vids, and all the other vids that are out there as well, doing and vloggers doing the same sort of thing. There's I've mentioned this 100 times, I think, but there's a wealth of knowledge out there. If you're willing to put the groundwork in to go and find it, and the support. I'm merely just doing videos on my own experiences. That's all they are. I'm not an expert in this, counselling or anything like that. That's not me. I'm just a bloke that once fluffed every bit of money he ever had, and living proof that you can get over it and fight it and become a better person for it. So that's where I am really, and discussing with you guys that obviously there is a brighter future. I hope everyone's staying away from this coronavirus that's kicking around. I mean, this is a worrying time for the country, isn't it? Panic buying bog roll and tins of beans. They go in hand, I guess. But yeah, so there's things to, there's crazier shit going on in the world than the problems that we're trying to dodge. As problem gamblers. I have said before, one of the things that helped me in my early days of recovery was really trying to work out the things that we sort of don't do, which is lazy really, because we don't really want to know the true meaning of some of the stuff, so like your actual outgoings and things like that. I mean, who knows, watching this, who actually knows what your monthly outgoings are? if 100 people watch this or 200 people watch it, I bet the percentage is massive. What you really got to do is work out, what your monthly outgoings are, and and see what sort of where that imbalance is. It's a useful tool to know actually what you got to earn and what's got to go out before you got a penny to your name. I know when you're in the midst of a gambling problem, it's day by day, isn't it? You're just robbing Peter to pay Paul sort of thing. But if you've got some sort of understanding in what you need to keep by, that's how I started. And I didn't, obviously I did quit gambling on a certain day, but prior to me actually stopping, I found for probably about a year before I actually knocked it on the head. I mean, the day I knocked it on the head, I'd done all my money, but I had some sort of control over my gambling. And I'll explain that. In a sense that I was able to maintain my bills and such, whereas before that period, I mean, I'm saying a year, I mean, it's just chucking it out there, isn't it? But it was roughly that sort of period. But prior to that, I mean, I would, as soon as I got money, I would spend it. Regardless of the next day I had 3 direct debits going out, mounting up to 200 quid or whatever, I would spend it, and then the direct debits would inevitably not go through, and then you're going to get a 20 quid, 30 quid fine for each one from your bank and stuff, so then it's just spiralling into the shit. But yeah, as I mentioned, that year before I sort of really, stopped, and where I am now in this period of, isolation, should we say that, from gambling, I did start having an element of control on it. So I would earmark and put aside, and I knew that was, I couldn't dip into that. Occasionally I did, it wasn't religious, but more often than not I managed to keep that little safety net. The problem with that was that obviously I had money put aside for bills and stuff, but I didn't have any money for myself because I was squandering that. But nevertheless, I still had that control over my essential bills. I wasn't going to become fucking homeless. I wasn't going to be without food, that kind of thing. But actually, money to go out and do something, no. So, was that a win? Yeah. Was that a winner or a loser? What? But it's a vast improvement, obviously, than fucking fluffing everything I ever had, So that sort of crept in. And I'll tell you why that crept in, because I grew up a little bit, right, and realised that I didn't want that exposure again. I mean, we've all been there with this rock bottom thing, and when it all finally crashes down, I mean, as gamblers we plod on, okay, we plod on and we think it's going to be unnoticed, right? And then it progressively gets worse, doesn't it? And you end up, I don't know, with payday loans and shit like that. And it all starts mounting up, your shoulders are sinking, you're in awful trouble. And then eventually the bubble's got to burst, okay? And all of those people that were thinking that you were plodding along okay, I mean, people, loved ones and stuff, they ain't stupid, and they probably sense something's going on if they know you're a gambler anyway, and they're always suspicious, aren't they? Because we've hurt their trust in the past, we've abused their trust and loyalty, haven't we? Because we've fucking lied to them, so there is that going on, okay? But when that bubble bursts, it's fucking, although it's a real mega relief, because your problems out in the open now. You can't hide anywhere. You've hit it. You've got no money. The bills are coming out. You ain't got no money to pay that, and you're in a bit of a shit with your debt and what have you. So when that comes out, huge relief. But on the other hand, it's pretty horrific experience for the gambler. I know that's selfish to say, but it is a pretty horrific experience because now everyone's involved in your life. So going from being you, secretive, isolating yourself away, and your business being your business, nobody really comes in on that because you've got your barriers up. Yeah. All of a sudden, the bubble pops. Huge relief, but now everybody sees the extent of your life, and what you've been doing, and that for when you're exposed like that and hit rock bottom. Sorry, it's yeah, two emotions going on. That huge, immense relief, and then once that sort of settles down, and we all have a good old cry and a meltdown on that breakdown. I know, been there, done it. Floods of tears and fucking, I'm sorry to everyone. Horrible experience. Yeah, but at least everyone's there and everyone's giving you a load of shit and grief because at the end of the day you deserve it, don't you? I know we've got that illness and that problem, but we've lied and we've hurt people, so they're naturally going to be, give you a bit of grief, and we, as the problem gambler, think, oh fucking hell, I've just got this problem, and now everyone's giving me a barrage of abuse, so you've got to see it from both sides, haven't you? But that exposure thing, yeah, so obviously everybody knowing about it, they suddenly, from going from that isolation period, now everybody's involved in your life, wanting to take control. Certain people are taking snippets of your life. I'm looking after your money. I'm going to keep an eye on him after work, this, that, fucking, I'll pick him up from work, make sure he comes home, all this sort of stuff going on. It's horrible. Do you know what I mean? I know we need it, and we know the purpose of it, and that is to keep what you're earning and your wages going to the right places. So if you've got kids and you've got rent and what have you, and that money you're earning needs to go and support your family and your missus or your husband or whoever. That's the whole point of going to work, is unfortunately to keep a roof over your head, to keep yourself fed, and the luxuries can come later. In the initial stages, it's about paying your way in society, and just living like every other fucker has to. So that for me, I hit that stage of exposure, fucking countless times, probably, I don't know, getting on to the second hand, I would have thought, and it was always fucking despair, and a horrible fucking time. But the relief of it was great, and everyone going, right, fresh start and all that was great. And you really feeling positive about, this time is the last. And then all of a sudden it just starts manifesting again, and off you fucking go, and then you're back in your old ways, isn't you? So that is why a year roughly prior to me actually giving up for good, I had some control, because I felt that if I kept the bills and the food on the table and things like that, that I wouldn't go to that stage of being exposed again and that fucking bubble popping. And that would prevent all the shit and people coming into my life. But then I was still being secretive because I was still gambling, but I was gambling, for want of a better term, within my means, yeah? But I was a problem gambler, so there's no gambling within your means. Once you're a problem gambler, uh, it's irrelevant, isn't it? I shouldn't be gambling. So whether I was paying my bills all right and stuff, it was no future. It was all dead money, wasn't it? It was just going out. I had nothing because anything I could have saved, I was faffing. Any holiday, any extras, I had no rainy day money. I mean, if something come up other than my bills, I was fucked. Yeah. So something come up, 4 new tyres on the motor, or I don't know. Fuck me, I need to go to the dentist. Urgent shit going on. I didn't have the money for that. So at any point, I could have potentially been exposed. Because and that's that final thing for me. Because on my birthday, June 7th, 2016, I done my bollocks. And it was, there was money that I needed to pay bills, and I'd done it. So that was a real slip. Sat there on a wall, never forget it, and absolutely sobbed it out. And I thought, what a fucking prick. I've had this control, and I've tried to just carry on unnoticed, if you like, with the bills being paid. That's when it dawned on me that was the wrong thing to do. I can't gamble at all. Yeah, there was no within my means. I couldn't gamble because I was ticking along paying the bills and gambling, but it wasn't enough because I knew, that self-control, that willpower gave way in the end. And that's what will happen to all of us. If you try and, in my opinion, I mean, maybe people are successful in monitoring and stuff. I don't think, this is my own personal opinion. I mean, correct me if you think I'm wrong, but setting limits on online casinos, on the FOBTs, things like that. For a problem gambler, I don't think they work, because there's 1,000,001 fucking websites out there willing to take your fucking money. So you set a limit, and you bottle that limit. I mean, I've seen it time and time again with people online. Their limit, they've exceeded their or maxed out their deposit limit or whatever. They shut that page down. They open another one up. They've got an account out that's still got X amount for the month to spend. If you've got a limit, that's your limit, isn't it? Not with just one site. That's your financial limit per se, per month or week or hour, fucking whatever it is. Yeah. So you can't just say, oh, there's my limit. Let's say £25 with Sky Bet or whatever. When you've done that, that's what you've set. You're comfortable with that. So how do you justify shutting that down and opening up William Hill or something and then boshing another? It don't make sense. Do you know what I mean? You've set that 25 quid limit for a reason, haven't you? So that's why I think setting these limits it don't work. Now, on another point, GameStop, obviously that's been implemented. I think it works okay. I'd like to know your thoughts on it. How about GameStop had something like that, so that all of these casinos have to first verify against GameStop your details to whether you can register an account. What was to say that if you wanted to try the control method, first of all, without self-excluding, okay, that you set a limit with them guys, yeah? So say the limit's 50 quid a month. So you go there, you put £50 in a month, And any casino that you sign up to, there's a talking database there somewhere, yeah. So they go, oh, he's got £37.50 left, right, and then they keep taking it off, and that deposit is checked off against that 50, and that applies £50 per month, let's say, to gamble anywhere. Don't know how easy that is to implement, to be honest with you, but it's food for thought, isn't it? You know, and that maybe, I know it doesn't stop you drawing out £100 and taking it to the bookies and what have you, you know, or doing a load of scratch cards or whatever it be, but online wise, I mean, that's, to me, makes more sense that setting limits would work, would help, you know. The fact that you can set a limit with a website, and then once your limit's done, open up another one, I mean, that don't make no sense to me at all, really. It's not helping, is it? Anyway, have I gone off a little bit? So, yeah, as I normally do. So that control thing. So, for me, sat there on that wall, bawling my eyes out and thinking, no, I can't control this at all. I can't just do it. You know, the drinker, the alcoholic, that one drink, you know, the alcoholic, and I'm just going to limit myself to a pint a day. Wow, the taste is too good, isn't it? Yeah, once you get that feeling and that endorphin kick, you know, it's just off you go, and you're fucking, before you know it, the alcoholic's fucking wrecked out of his head, the druggie's off his head, and the gambler's fucking skin, you know. So, you know, that's where I'm at with it. That's what I think, and you know, I think that, you know, they could try and implement something that, for those people that want to try and control it. I don't think it would work for any other addiction, to be fair, but it could work for gambling online. You know, if they put something in like the GamStop thing, where you go, I want to limit my gambling to a one-stop shop like GamStop, yeah. And you have a balance in there, or maybe somehow, I don't know, like a PayPal thing where you put what you want to do in there monthly. You can't add any more to it monthly, and once it's gone, it's gone. Don't know. Anyway, but so for me, realising that on the 7th of June 2016 that I had to stop gambling, was concrete. It was totally concrete. There was no fluffing about. There was no, I couldn't carry on like that, you know. It worked for a period of time, but you know, it was making me miserable. It was making me miserable. It was making me ill, depressed, anxious, all sorts of, messing around with my head mentally more than anything ever has done. So that was it. I just made that executive decision, if you like, that from this day forward I've got to try fucking harder. I'd already had that control somewhat over my spending and maintaining, you know, my bills and stuff like that, and getting that sorted out. So the adjustment really was just to keep hold, obviously the last day was short, but to keep hold of that extra bit, yeah, and just try to fucking stay away from gambling. And to this day, touch wood, that's what I've done. I'm a better person for it. I feel better for it. You know, I don't, like I said, I still get shit days, and you will get shit days. There's no question about it. You know, that's just life, isn't it? You know, but I deal with those shit days. They're easier to deal with, for not gambling. You know, and you know, you can just see things a little bit clearer without the gambling. So there's hope for everyone. I know that there's a lot of people out there. In particular, I speak to one bloke I haven't spoken to him for a while now, but he's so much in denial. And you've got to, whoever you speak to regards a gambling addiction, what is absolutely a given is that you've got to want to stop. And I've said it many a times in the past that I've always wanted to stop when I was gambling, always wanted to, right? But not 100%. Do you know what I mean? There was just that little bit kicking away that, it'll be all right. Do you know what I mean? I'll go 3-4 months without gambling, and it will be all right, and I'll just go back to a normal person doing the lottery and like the odd scratch card here and there. No, not a chance. And there was always that little door ajar, that little avenue of opportunity to just dip my toes in the water, if you like, which ended up being a fucking disaster. So, it had to stop, and it had to stop for the rest of my life. I can't gamble. Funny enough, I don't think I mentioned it, but at Christmas, I was round my dad's, and my stepsister's other half come in, and he bought a load of scratch cards and stuff and was dishing them out, unscratched, as a sort of present and what have you. And he offered me one and what have you. I said, no, I'm fine, thanks, mate. He said, no, I don't want money for it. You could win. I'll give you I've got it for you. I said, I don't want it, mate. And I looked at my dad, and he sort of looked at me a bit odd. But bearing in mind, my dad knows my background and where I've been and stuff. And he kind of didn't clock it at first, my old man. And I said, Dad, I don't agree with it. And then he clocked it, and then he said, he's all right. He don't want one, And it was quite odd that obviously the time that's elapsed from me packing it up, he's kind of, and that's that trust thing. He kind of looked at me and thought, well, why don't you want one then? And then he realised that it's that drink for the alcoholic sort of thing, isn't it? But it was nice to know that obviously that trust is back, that he didn't see a problem with it at first, and he thought, why is he not taking that? It ain't cost him nothing, it could win something. But then he dawned on it, and that just shows you how time passes and people do get over things, I'll never forget, because I lived and breathed every second of it. But for him, I think he probably thought, oh yeah, you know what I mean? It's I remember them days; they were shite, and it was a sort of little wake up, that I'm still practicing what I preach, and still got to stay strong and keep my guard up at all times, and we used to go up and play snooker a lot, up at this club. I started trying to get back into it, I don't know, a year ago or so. And a couple of lads that went up with us, some family members and stuff, they were just sat playing the fruity, and then, that's how it all started for me, up the snooker centres and stuff, dicking around on them things. But fruit machines, Jesus. But yeah, I looked at it and I thought, well, it's what it is. I'm not, never going to stop people gambling, are you? But, I saw one of them in particular was getting up there an hour before everyone else, leaving a bit later than everyone else, and saw their personality changing a little bit over the course of a few months. And I thought, well, that's as dangerous as it is. I did say, you want to keep an eye on that, and but it's deaf ears, isn't it? Until it's a problem. Nobody thinks they got a problem, and that's any addiction, isn't it? I ain't got a problem. It's it'll be all right when I win. It all sorts itself out, and it swings and roundabouts. I only bet what I can afford to bet, and fucking the shit that we fucking say. But at the end of the day, as soon as you realise, that you've got a game, I had a gambling problem. I used to get fucking, the feelings you get when you've done all your money. You wake up in the morning and you've got that. Um, Only Phil calls it a gambling hangover. I mean, it's exactly that. A gambling hangover. You wake up in the morning and you're just like, fuck. Oh my god, it hits you like a fucking sledgehammer. But initially you're sort of disorientated and you're just like, what happened, what happened? Oh fuck, shit. And then you've got the day and just minging. Gambling hangover. Best thing you've said, Phil. Fucking spot on, mate. So yeah, it is one of them that you've got a problem, and as long as you deny it, you're never going to get better from this fucking horrendous illness. The longer you go on ignoring it and pretending that it's all right, it won't get any better. You don't go through life with medical or health ailments that really are hurting and causing you problems. The second you get grief, toothache, or your back's fucking killing you, or you got a headache, you seek a solution, don't you? You got a headache, you go and take some painkillers. Your back's out, you go to a chiropractor. Your fucking toothache, you're straight up the dentist. With this, you just soldier on, don't you? And that's because of the denial, because you don't really want to give up. If 100% you wanted to give up, you take that and get it sorted, don't you? Or you start the process, you get involved and get it sorted. If you don't do nothing about it, like I say, with pain, let's just put it into perspective with pain. If you're in pain, you want to stop that pain. Tooth again, isn't it? Yeah. People on a Friday, and the dentist is closed all weekend, and they're in pain. They're either clucking like that till Monday morning, straight on the phone, 9 a.m. when that dentist opens. I've got to come in today. I'm en route now. I'll be with you in 5 minutes. Yeah. I need to see somebody. Or you make an emergency appointment with Dr. Death down in wherever, to get it knocked out or whatever, because you need that relief. You're in discomfort. And an addiction is no different. It's major discomfort, mentally, physically. But you just let it go, don't you? Just let it go. But because of that little percentage of you, and that little denial, that little monster on your shoulder fucking giving you grief, say, don't worry about it, it'll be alright. We can control it, we'll sort this out. All this shit going through your head, no, it ain't gonna get any better. This disease only gets worse, okay? So you need to go and get treatment for it. It's causing you discomfort, it's causing you pain, it's causing your family pain. Toothache don't affect my partner, my old man, my mum, whoever, only for the fact that I'm grumpy. It don't affect them, really, yeah? My back being out, yeah? It don't affect my family too much, okay? Gambling, however, it affects them massively, financially, emotionally. You're not there. Yeah, you're not the person that you should be, supporting your family, your loved ones, your kids, whatever. You're not there. So this is something more. This is, you need to go and address this if you're struggling with gambling addiction. If you're 100% that you want to quit, you go out and do something today about it. Anything, the smallest thing today, you could go and do, okay? Whether that be sign up to one of these cards that doesn't permit gambling transactions, Monzo. Yeah, loads of them are doing it now. All the high street banks have started to cotton on. Yeah, I well pissed off. Years ago, I was going on at my bank about this. Years and years ago, I'm telling you, it's a merchant code. block it and stop me gambling. Stop me gambling. We can't do that. We can't do that. And now they're fucking doing it. Do you know what I mean? Because they know that it's an epidemic. It's a problem. It's getting out of control. Back then, I was, in the minority. They were getting, I don't know, fucking one call a week. They're probably getting a fucking 100 calls a week now, yeah? How can I stop gambling? Can you stop that? Yeah, well, we'll put this block on there. Fucking hell. I wanted that years ago. Would it have helped me? Yeah, of course it would have done. Yeah, it would have been one barrier, in between me and gambling. The more barriers you've got, the bigger the wall, the fucking harder it is to climb, isn't it? Yeah? I mean, it's not curing your problem, but it's stopping you fucking getting in the shit. And that wage packet, that money going into your bank, it's harder to spend it if you've got barriers and shit in front of you, yeah? But you still need to go and get this sorted out. The problem's in here, yeah? Keeping hold of the money and putting them barriers in there, great, yeah? They're going to make it hard for you, but you've got to address the problem in your head, and there's something in there that needs looking at, and that's something I can't deal with. By listening to this and me talking, I hope it helps and send you on the road to your recovery and going to find those places of support. Picking the phone up if you haven't got anyone. Find somebody to talk to. Samaritans, Game Care, Gamblers Anonymous, all these places, yeah? There's people willing to listen to you. You don't need to sit in silence. And also family members. Talk. If they know you've got a gambling problem, you've done the hard work, right? But because they know, okay. You've just got to open up and stop living that secretive life that we do. I know it's easier said than done, but don't wait for another rock bottom. That's what I'm telling you. Don't wait for that to come along, because I've explained it's horrendous. Hated it rock bottom. I mean, by the sound of it ain't a good thing, but I hated it not for the reason of the, it all coming out. I hated it for the aftermath of that being into my life. I'd rather explain everything, and the trust is gone. Yeah, so the people don't trust you anymore. That's the hardest thing of it. So now, ask me a question, I'll tell you no lies. It's as simple as that. If I'm not all right, I might say no, I'm fine. But somebody will get it out of me in the end, and I'll go, yeah, do you know what? This is really pissing me off, and then it will come out. But years ago, I would have kept it a secret. Anyway, my time's running out, people. Loads of waffling, but back doing a video on demand. Got loads of grief. Sorry to everyone, but hope everyone's doing all right, and hope this video pleases people. Don't know when I'm going to be back to do another one. Hopefully it won't be so long, but yeah, who knows. But I will keep you up to date, and love to you all, and thanks for watching. Okay, all the best. Ta-da.